Hello. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you're all well. Hey, good morning, Alison. Good to see you. Hey, let us know if you can hear me okay. I know there's a bit of music in the background here. I'm staying in Melbourne, as a few of you guys might know. Pretty cool hotel. The Ovalo. I don't know if anyone stayed at the Ovalo. Anyway, good hotel. Let me know if the audio is okay. Yeah, sweet as. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, good morning. Good to see you, mate. Bit of a shout out to, got to wear my glasses these days. Hey, Nick, good to see you, mate. Sarif, Alison, Daniel, Riles, good to see you, team. Hey, good to hang out with a few of you guys last night at mentoring. Hopefully you found that interesting. I always like it when Marcus comes on, always puts it in a bit of perspective for, some of the wealth we're creating, some of the things that we need to really sort of get in our mind about our health and our future as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it like I did last night. But hey, listen, today I thought we'd talk about a few bits and pieces that I learned over the weekend not so long ago. Hey, morning, Daniel. Good morning to you, mate. Bit of a shout out to you. Who else we got there? Jeff. Morning, mate. Heading up to Cairns. Oh, you're in Cairns. Heading home, all right. For those who are new to the show, Jason is my name. Maybe you're wandering by. Maybe you've seen the headline. Maybe someone said, "Hey, come and have a look." Maybe it's popped up on your feed. Good morning to you. Wealth Coffee Chats has been going for about 3 years now. Each morning, Monday to Friday, get together with some pretty interesting investors, just like you, pretty passionate people about real estate investing, and talk about what's going on in the marketplace, what's going on in the news, what's going on with strategy, ideas, motivation, whatever that might be. So welcome along. If you're new, give us a shout out in the chat, say hello, let us know where you're from. I've been investing over 20 years and coaching property investors over 18. Done over 100 property deals personally myself. Done over 10,000 deals with our customers across Australia and New Zealand, and along the way, learnt a few things, folks. So, each morning, share a little bit of the experience of myself and an aggregated collection of many property investors around Australia. So welcome along. If you've got any questions, whack them in the chat. Good to see you there, Sean. But today, I thought we might talk about a few things when it comes to the world of interest rates. Unless you've been living under a rock. Hey, morning, Ewan. How are you, mate? Unless you've been living under a rock, interest rates are going up, right? And for many owner-occupiers, that's a concern. Obviously, if you have a cost, an expense in your life, which is your mortgage, it's usually the biggest expense in your life, and that goes up, then that's a reason for some concern or trepidation or issues or worries. But for most property investors, that shouldn't be a worry. That shouldn't be a worry because there's two things that actually increase when interest rates go up for property investors. And folks, in the chat, tell me right now, what are the two things that actually increase directly when interest rates go up? And sometimes there's a little lag on one of them, but there's an immediate increase in this one the moment interest rates go up. Interest rates go up. What other things? Put in the chat for me right now. There are two things that have always, forever and a day, as far as I can remember anyway, gone up when interest rates have gone up. Put that in the chat for me right now. Does anyone know what they are? Two things. There's three dimensions to real estate. well, there's three wealth creation pieces of real estate, but there's two things that will increase when interest rates go up for you. It helps us hedge inflation. Like, you know, oh, boom, who was that? Deductions and rent. Who's on that? Boom. Pip, yeah, your rent plus deduction. Let us know who that was. You're probably in one of the Facebook groups. Sometimes we don't know who that is, but absolutely nailed it. Straight off the bat this morning. You've probably had a few coffees. Listen, folks, interest rates go up. You as a property investor, your rents go up. And by default, the cost of your money goes up and you actually get more tax deductions. Ladies and gents, as property investors, we are absolutely much better off to navigate any increases in interest rates as in comparison to owner occupiers. And right out there, I don't know if you guys have been out there looking in the market, the rental market right now. I have heard so many stories. We manage 1,000 properties. About 500 in Brisbane, 500 in Melbourne. Ladies and gents, the average rental increase in Brisbane is ludicrous, like over $100. Some of them have been $200, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. So right now, if you're sitting there and you're concerned as a property investor going, oh, interest rates are going up, you're not thinking straight. Because I can tell you right now, it's fantastic to see the pressure come back on rents to go up, because rents have not, in reality, gone up very much, if at all, over the last 8-9 years for property investors. Because what's gone down for a decade and taken the pressure off putting rents up, folks? Put that in the chat for me right now. What's gone down for a decade? For most of us, many of us on this call this morning, and many of us in recent memory, have only borrowed money as interest rates have gone where? They've gone down. For a whole decade, interest rates have gone down, not up. Okay, so yeah, interest rates gone down. So interest rates going down, your cost going down in real terms did not have any pressure, and the cash rate, yep, did not have any pressure on passing on large, if at all, rent increases to people renting your property. So, let's have a bit of a look at what's going on out there as property investors right now. Let me see if I can. Just got to do a bit of an adjustment here, team. Just wait a moment. I think is it that one? That one. There we go. We need to adjust this so I can see it. For some reason that's there we go. Get it on the other side. Adjusted all that this morning, and then there we go. All right. There we go. All right. Can you see that? Yep. All right. Good. Might just adjust it there. I thought I'd lock that in this morning, but I hadn't. So hey, listen. One thing that is really interesting, folks, if you're out there doing some research on the weekend, I had an opportunity to hang out with someone very clever, a very interesting economist over the weekend, and he chucked up some pretty interesting stats. Right now, Australians have never been wealthier. So if you're worried about, interest rates are going up, and everyone's going to run for the hills and property prices and the economy is going to collapse, there's no evidence. There's zero evidence for that out there right now, ladies and gents. And this is the sort of stuff that is really interesting, really important for you and me as professional investors, because, if you want to be wealthy, tell me right now in the chat, folks, if you want to be wealthy, how do wealthy people behave when there's information that comes to light? Like, do they sit around and gossip at a barbecue and talk about in terms of they've done this and they've done that? Do wealthy people do that? Do wealthy people go, oh, I tried that once, it doesn't work? Do wealthy people, sell everything and run for the hills? I don't know. Like, those who want to achieve some financial wealth, some financial stability through property investing, many of you guys on this call today, what sort of behavior when things change or there is different things going on in the marketplace, do you think that's going to help you not only create that wealth, but keep it, right? Tell me in the chat right now, what sort of behavior do you think you need to have right now as a property investor to make the most of your trajectory for your property portfolio? Do you need to sell and run and hide in the corner? Do you need to focus on your strategy and continue your acquisition? For me, my encouragement to you right now as a property investor is continue to do the action, continue to do the acquisition of your real estate. Because right now, the only evidence in the marketplace right now, economically, is Australians are richer than they've ever been in Australian history on average. That's the actual facts right now. That's the facts. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. You're looking for the right time to buy, and that's a good thing. Just keep plodding along. Absolutely. Has anyone heard the story about Shackleton and I've had a mental blank now. Tell me, it was the race to the the South Pole. Can anyone tell me the two people? It was Shackleton and I'll tell the story. If someone remembers, chuck it in the chat for me. The two parties, Shackleton. So there's two parties racing to the North Pole. All right, and this was many years ago. And one party lands in it was the South Pole. Sorry, team. One party lands there, goes, all right, well, it's good weather today. Good weather today. Let's go. And they go 40 miles or 40 kilometers. And the next day it's bad weather. So they sit around and do nothing. A couple of days of bad weather. Then there's good weather. And then they go another 40 miles. And then the next week, bad weather. So they sit there and do nothing. Edmondson, that's right. Yep. It's Shackleton and Edmondson. Yeah, there you go. And so then the other party says, no, this is how we're going to get to the South Pole, folks. Every day we're going to do 20 miles. 20 miles, whether it's good weather, whether it's bad weather. So every day they got up and they did 20 miles. Some days it was pleasant and they finished by lunchtime. Some days it was so hard that they weren't finished until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Every day they did 20 miles. So it's called the 20-mile march. That's what investing's like, folks. Those guys who did the 20-mile march made it to the South Pole safely and made it back. Those guys who only went out on the days the weather was good and hunkered down when the weather was bad, actually, bit of a horrific story, actually died. And that's kind of like well, it's absolutely bloody like investing. If you're only a good time Charlie, when you're out and about when the weather's good, you're going to actually not be successful as a property investor. Anyway, got a bit distracted there. But listen, Australians are wealthier than they've ever been. And it's good to have a little look at what's going on. What do you guys think happened? Because I like the idea of having a look at a bit of history. What do you think that happened last time interest rates started to rise? Well, here's what happened. And this is the history. This is the reality. Let's say in August 1994, 1 year after the interest rate rise, 2 years after the interest rate rise, 5 years after the interest rate rise. This is interesting. Okay, let's have a look in 1999. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Let's look in March or in May. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Let's look in 2009. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. By and large, the values of real estate went up. How does that make any sense, folks? Right? And then the house prices after the last interest rate rise. So this was when they started to rise. Sometimes people like, oh, okay, I better get in before the interest rates go too far, right? This is kind of like the things are starting to rise, a bit of a last shot in the tail, bit of a run, whatever it might be. And this is after the rises had finished, right? So you would expect in some circumstances, there are some settling down in a marketplace, okay? But check out the majority between 2 and 5 years later, interest rate rises didn't lead to, but between 2 and 5 years later, capital growth resumed in real estate prices. Real estate prices. So tell me right now, you see that's the history, that's the evidence we see right now in the marketplace. We've got two things going on. Aussies have never been wealthier in Australian history. And the other 4 times of recent history since 1994, when interest rates went up, within 2 to 5 years, property prices resumed at between 20 and 70% capital growth. Come on, folks. There's no evidence out there to show this 30% collapse. That sort of stuff by the media is absolute lunacy. And you need to learn not to listen to that rubbish. It's complete and absolute bullshit. That's what these wealth coffee chats each morning are all about. So right now, tell me, folks, and someone said, hey, they're looking for their first investment. Thanks for letting us know. If you're looking for your first investment and trying to pick the right time to buy, I would say there's probably never a right time to buy when it comes to being perfect. The right time to buy is when you are financially able, because if you aggregate that over, let's say, a 10 to 15 year buying cycle, it won't matter in reality, but certainly look for a bargain, that's for sure. So tell me right now, folks, is there any other evidence out there that you can see and back it up with data and facts that's showing the property market's going to collapse? No, fucking rubbish. Oh, excuse the French, that's a bit of a slip. It's rubbish. There might be some slowdowns. Yep, dead right, Alison. There might be some slowdowns in sentiment and confidence. There might be some waiting just to see what I can borrow. All of those things are very practical and very normal, and that will happen. But the market collapsing, there's zero evidence of that. Matter of fact, there's more evidence. There is more evidence and facts supporting capital growth resuming within 2 to 3 years because of all the pressures in the marketplace. Massive pressures. And you guys know we've talked about a few of these. Massive. Insane. So when the interest rates get done and everyone sort of realizes the world hasn't ended, it'll be on like Donkey Kong. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There is certainly room for a bit of negotiation. And certainly right now, there's room for that negotiation. There's not a lot of stock on the market. It's the lowest amount of stock on the market in the last 20 years, folks. All right. So, but get out there, trade on the the marketplace that doesn't understand that there's not a disaster coming. They might be running for the hills. You can get a bargain. No problem with that at all. At all. Get a sharp price. All right, team. That's me. Done and dusted. Wealth Coffee chat this morning. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully that's useful. I always like to grab, good info and proper data and sort of just, recheck in on our rationale as investors. Are we on target? Have we talked ourselves into something that we shouldn't have? Or are we ignoring something that's obvious? Yeah. Right now, I'm very confident and comfortable that the world's not going to end. It's probably a great time to nick a bargain because a few people think that, and keep going. You are a long-term investor. You're not a good time Charlie. You're building wealth for your future, and that does not happen overnight, folks. We've got a couple of sayings around here, just so you know. If you're new, there's two really important things to understand about property investing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's about going the distance. Time is the best investor you'll ever meet. Just remember that. And the other one is buy well and never sell. Don't buy something you're not happy to own for the next 20 to 30 years. And if you do, and you sell it and you make a loss, that's your fault. Don't buy something that you're going to sell, ever. There you go, folks. That's it. Done and dusted. Wealth Coffee chat. You guys be awesome. Be well. See you guys tomorrow, around about the same time, 8:10. Hardick, good to see you, mate. All right. Adios, team. Bye-bye. I'll press the button now. I'm going to find it. See you guys.